realized is an incredible problem.
It's not connected to your phone? There's no key on the phone?
No, no key. No,
We don't want road festivals.
No.
what's really annoying is what if my battery dies? So of course I've got cables in my trunk, but I can't get into my trunk because the whole car shuts down. Right?
Do you know where to attach the cables?
If the yeah,
There's no.
I've been driving for 50 years.
Yeah, you say that, but if you open the bonnet now, it's like a computer. And
Oh,
an engine.
yeah, but I was watching what he was doing. He took something. I still plus minus. It's the same old plus minus. But what a pain in the neck. Anyway,
Lucky you didn't leave your phone in the car when you're doing it.
no, I can't leave the phone in the car because the phone is how I pay for the gas. So the Baruch Hashem, you're right about that.
So at least
You're right about that. But you're right about that. I would have had to go into the gas station and call my son, and then my son would have had to stay with me while we called the Yedidim.
You could have been.
But the guy came. They're amazing, these guys.
They're actually not. They don't take any payment.
No.
Just.
No, I told him I want to pay. He said, no, we don't take a payment. So I want to, donate some money. He said, okay, well, I just bought this new thing. You want to, he paid for it. He said, you want to donate to this new thing I just bought? I said, yeah. So I gave him 100 shekels to help pay for this new thing he just bought.
Is it like Shamer?
I don't know what you mean. It's a Yedidim. It's called Yedidim. These are from guys all over the country who help people in these situations with cars. Religious, non-religious, doesn't matter who calls up. They go help them out. And now, slowly but surely, the non-religious community in this country is realizing that almost all the people who do these sort of things are the religious people, and they're starting to think about that a little bit. They're talking about it on their television shows. How come only the religious people do things like this?
Funny that.
It's very interesting. Okay, let's go. I apologize for being late. The bus just didn't come, so there's not much I can do about that. But I finished Rambam sitting at the bus station, at least that. Okay, we learned about 4 worlds yesterday. Atzilus, Bria, Yetzirah, Asiya. And we learned, we learned some mashalim for the kalim of all 4 worlds, not for the or, only for the kalim of those 4 worlds. So let's go through those mashalim. Elam Abriya, what's the mashal for Elam Abriya? For the kalim of Elam Abriya.
Coke bottle.
A Coke bottle, bidiok. A bottle you can see through clearly, doesn't hide what's in it. It is not, we'll call everything in it water for the sake of argument. Right? The water in the bottle is completely visible. The bottle is all about revealing the water to you without coloring the water in any way, shape, or form by its own yeshus, by its own personality, so to speak. Okay, that's Elam Abriya, a state of yesh, created reality, but it's completely bottle. Angels up there in Elam Abriya. There's the mashal for Elam Yetzirah. A Sprite bottle. This bottle's sort of in between, right? This one has a slight blue tint, right? Okay, Beseder, but this bottle's probably Elam Abriya, more Briya than Yetzirah. Elam Yetzirah is the mashal we said is the Sprite bottle. What does that mean? It allows you to see the liquid inside, doesn't hide it at all, meaning it's a kli that will allow you to see the godliness that's powering that kli. So were you to look at an angel in Elam Yetzirah, you'd see godliness, the godliness vitalizing that angel. However, it has a little bit of its own yeshus, so the green tint of the bottle is the yeshus, this sense of self of the malach in Elam Yetzirah, right? Still bottle, but a little less than Bria. Elam Hazeh Gashmi, Gershon's cup, right? If Gershon holds up his cup, we don't know, is there anything in it or not, right? Well, I was so late, there might not be anything left in it because he might have drunk it all, right? But is there anything in the cup? I don't know. Because what does the cup say? Look, aren't I a beautiful cup? What's the cup not interested in doing? It's not interested in revealing what's really vitalizing it. It's interested in revealing itself. Aren't I a beautiful cup? What do you mean you're a beautiful cup? You're a beautiful expression of godly reality. He doesn't say that at all. The Malach in Elam Abriya says that. The Malach in Elam Yetzirah also says that. The physical reality down here completely conceals the godliness that's vitalizing it. Okay, now again, this is only a mashal for the kelim and not the Eilam Atzilus, what was the kli of Eilam Atzilus?
H2O cup.
All right, an ice cup, right? It's all H2O. The water in the cup and the ice cup, it's all H2O. It's all Elokus. In Eilam Atzilus, it's all godliness, right? Even the kli is Elokus, right? What are the kelim? What's up there in Eilam Atzilus? 10 spheres. That's Eilam Atzilus. Okay, that's what we learned yesterday. Okay, let's go further. Nam. We'll start from Nam. We read that already, but we'll start again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 lines down. 10 lines? 10 lines. 10 lines down. Nam. All that we said about the difference between Atzilus, Atzilus, Bri, Yitzir, Asiya. We talked about it also in terms of Keches and Nefesh, right? The powers of your soul that are clothed in your body and are clothed in each limb and power each limb in a unique way, as opposed to the Keches Makifin, the all-surrounding, the encompassing powers of your soul. Ratzon, will, tainu, pleasure that aren't clothed in any particular kli and power your body equally. So too, 2 levels of godly reality. Or Mamale, the level of godly light that fills the world and vitalizes the world. And or Seive, which is a level of light relative to the world, because after all, we call it our Seviv Kol Almin, the light that surrounds the worlds, but it's transcendent of the worlds, right? So it's the all-encompassing will of HaKadosh Baruch Hu that powers everything. Now, that will can have an internal expression or external expression. We've talked about that before, right? There can be a more powerful expression, meaning when we say internal and external will, so what we mean is that everything you do is an expression of will. But it might be that what you're doing is only a means to another end. The ultimate end is the true ratzon, right? Remember a mashal we once had about that? Okay, we'll go through the mashal again just to appreciate it. So how will works, and it's a makif, but even in makif there'll be inner and there'll be more internal and more external expressions of it, right? I pick up the phone. Why did I pick up the phone? Because I want to pick up the phone. I don't pick up the phone if I don't want to pick up the phone. But do I really want to pick up the phone? What do I really want?
You just want to talk.
I want to talk to someone on the other end of the line. If I could do that without the phone, I would, but I can't. So I have to pick up the phone. So I pick up the phone and I dial the taxi. Okay. Or I pick up the phone and I press the app for the taxi. Fine. Doesn't matter. All right. Okay. Do I want a taxi? Well, you can't say I don't want a taxi. Of course I want a taxi, but do I really want a taxi? No, I want to get to where I want to go. If I could just go like this and get there, I wouldn't. But okay, so I can't do that without the taxi. So I can't say I don't want a taxi. I do want a taxi. As a matter of fact, I'm watching the screen of the app going, where's my taxi? Look, there's 20 around here. Why won't someone pick up my ride? So finally he does. Good, Baruch Hashem. So Ahmad is coming, right?
You really want to talk to Ahmed?
Yeah, I really want to talk to Ahmad, right? Okay. So you always wonder what's Ahmad really thinking, right? Okay, so you get in the cab, and you want to get in the cab. You don't want to get in the cab. You want to go to the airport. Okay, do you really want to go to the airport? No one really wants to go to the airport. You have to get on the plane. So in order to get on the plane, you have to get in the airport. You want to get on the plane? Well, okay, planes have their advantage, but I don't really want to be on the plane. I want to be on where the plane's taking me. Right? I want to get to New York because the plane is taking me to New York. Do I want to be in New York? Well, I don't really want to be in New York. I really want to go to the business meeting that I have in New York. And on a certain level, now you could say it this way. If I could have done it on Zoom, maybe I would have done it on Zoom, but I can't. I have to be in the meeting personally, and so I picked up the phone and called the cab and went to the airport and got on the plane and flew to New York and got in a cab there and went to the office of whoever I'm having the meeting with, and I'm sitting in the meeting. Okay, so that's what I really wanted. Well, that's not what I really wanted. Why am I in the meeting? Well, I assume I'm going to make $1 million by going to this meeting, so I want to make the $1 million. Do I want the $1 million? No, I don't want the $1 million. I want those things that the $1 million allows me to accomplish, do, etc. So I want to give a lot of tzedakah, right? So do I want to give a lot of tzedakah? Of course, I do want to give a lot of tzedakah, but the real reason I want to give a lot of tzedakah is because in the Gemara in Baba Basra tells us, and the Rebbe tells us to say this when we give tzedakah, Gedei l'tzedakah shemakareves is a geula. Giving tzedakah brings Mashiach. So what do I really want? Mashiach. Why did I pick up the phone in my house?
No idea.
Because I want Mashiach. That's Panemius of Ratzon of picking up the phone. The chitzonius ratzon of picking up the phone is I wanted a cat, but the pneumius ratzon of picking up the phone was I wanted Mashiach. Oh, okay. So that's true about how ratzon works. Right, so you can say that in other, in more simple things, right? If you happen to want a drink of water, okay, so you'll move your chair. Why? You wanted to. You'll walk out of the room. Why? You wanted to. But this isn't really what you want. What you really want is to get there and get some water and have a drink. Well, that's also not really what you want. What do you really want? Right. You want to get rid of the sensation of thirst that you have, or you want to experience the sensation of drinking the water. One of the two, right? You might not be thirsty. You just want to have a drink of water, right? Or you might be thirsty and you want to get rid of the real panimis aratzon is getting rid of that sensation which you don't enjoy, and so you did all these other things in order to accomplish that. And all of them they were all acts of will. So to the Eibishter, when he creates the world, does all sorts of things to bring about creation, upper worlds, lower worlds, Seivev, Mamal, all sorts of things happening in order to make that happen. What's the pneumius aratzon of everything that happens? And you shouldn't be able to answer that question. Everything that happens, it only happens because he wants to do it. Al yedei araveda. That's the pneumius aratzon of everything else. All right? Okay. That's how it works. So what's really quite astounding is, so when you do an act, when you're involved in iskafi, you're touching that place. That's what you're touching. That's called makif, seviv. Even though we're calling it panemius, right, which is usually right, but it's the opposite of makif. No, but this is panemius of the makif, the panemius aratzon. Panemius aratzon of everything is the Eibishter wants to do b'dachtenim. Why is there an elam atzilas? Because the Eibishter wants to do b'dachtenim. Why is there a machshava keduma da'ak? Because the Eibishter wants to do b'dachtenim. Why are there levels of Or Ein Sof that are so high we don't even know what they are? Because the Eibishter wants to do it. What do those things have to do with that? Sometimes it's obvious, sometimes it's not. Could the Eibishter do without all those things? Of course. Do whatever he wants. Could the Eibishter go straight from the essence of him without any levels of infinite godly light to a physical world? Yes, he could do that too. No problem. Do whatever he wants. You don't need anything. The only thing that's the only state of being that is absolutely necessary is the essence of a Kadosh Baruch Hu. It's the only thing that has what's called, it's mechuyev v'metzias. It must be. It's the only thing that must be. Everything else is a function of the ratzon of a Kadosh Baruch Hu. The highest levels of godly light are all just because Kadosh Baruch Hu wants those levels. Why? Kacha. Right? Atzilus. Why is there an Elam Atzilus? The Eibishter wants there to be an Elam Atzilus. Right? Why is there Elam Atzilus? The Eibishter wants there to be an Elam Atzilus. Right? Does there have to be an Elam Atzilus? No, absolutely not. Right? One of the reasons given in Chassidus as to why the Eibishter wants all these different levels of reality, so you and I can think about it and learn about it and talk about it and actually have some sort of a way of approaching Elokus. If we're straight from Atzmus to this, we have nothing to talk about. Seriously, just where'd it come from? God. How? It just showed up. As opposed to now, you should be able to discuss how the world was created in very, very sophisticated ways, and at least be able to talk about 4 different levels of godly light, and then how the difference between those worlds, and bring a mashal from powers of the soul in order to explain that to someone. And why in the world do those things exist? I honestly, I don't know. But simple shot, why do they exist? So you and I can talk about the Eibishter. What's something to talk about? Right? So just like the guy who opened my window knows how to open a window, you should know how to talk about God. Mm-hmm. Hopefully he knows how to talk about God also. I don't know, but he knows how to open windows. Quiet. Amnam. Kol zehu, that was only because so I could make sure that I wouldn't miss the phone call of the guy, because it's never on noise, this thing, right? Because if it's on noise, what do you forget to do? You forget to turn it off when you walk into shul, and then you annoy everybody in shul by your phone ringing. So if it's on vibrate, that doesn't happen. But you don't want to miss the call of the guy coming to save you. Amnam kol zehu ba'or. Everything we discussed up until now was memale. But the light that's beyond relevance to the worlds. And this is the level of light that's called sevev, all-encompassing. It's a level of light that's too powerful to be clothed in kalim. Remember yesterday we talked about three differences between mamale and sevev. What are they? Just look at your notes. You wrote them down for sure. Amnon wasn't there yesterday, and he's not there today. So here today. So then I can't ask Amnon to look at his notes. All right, no. Three differences between sevev and mamale.
So that is the same level in each of the worlds.
Beautiful. Well done. That's one. We gave three. Beautiful. Well done.
Um,
Why is it the same in every world? Because
it's not dependent on Kalim.
beautiful. So clothed in kalim is the way to say it. Absolutely beautiful. Well done. And one more. Infinite finite. Again, not that mamale, the or is finite, but mamale is the level of or responsible for finite reality. Sevev is infinite reality. Right? Are they both shaykh to the Eibishter? Yes, they both shaykh to the Eibishter. The Eibishter is not infinite, he's not finite, he's beyond both. He's the source of infinite reality, he's the source of finite reality, which means he's the source of the or and he's the source of the kalim. And the kalim are no less him than the or. And that's why you say every day in davening, you should know today and you put on your heart, ki havaya hu elokim. Yud kei vav kei is elokim. It's all the same. The source of infinite light and the source of those kalim which produce finitude, it's all the same. It's all just him. Right? That's what you're saying. You say Elenu. Ki havaya hu elokim. God's God. What do you mean God's God? Of course God's God. What kind of silly thing is that to say? And if you think about it, and this is the mind of Yadaita Musk of the Rebbe Shab, Havayu Elokim, those are two completely different states of godly reality. I can say Havayu Elokim. Havai is the source of Yud Kei Vav Kei, or Elokim is the source of Kalim, infinite, finite, revelation, Tzimtzum, two completely different states of reality. It's all just him. What's the mushal yesterday? What's this? What is this?
That's the case.
Now, Seder, in real life, what is this?
Peekaboo.
It's me. This isn't me? Is this me? It's not me?
It's all you.
All right, okay. Is this me? Which is more revealed, which is more hidden?
The second.
This is more revealed, obviously. You know whether I'm in a good mood, bad mood, nice guy, creepy guy, you know, all sorts of things from this, right? It's called panim. What does panim reveal? Panemius, right? What's really going on? Okay, this? I don't know what the guy is. I haven't got any clue, right? Oh, okay. This is more me than this? On some level, yes, because if God forbid, I'm not talking about me. If this were cut off, I wouldn't do so well. Right, okay, Seder, but it's still me, right? Okay. That's nature hiding the Eibishter. Nature doesn't hide the Eibishter, nature is the Eibishter. It's just the Eibishter hiding himself. Makif is found in all the worlds equally. V'zel b'chul amin. This is what the Alter Rebbe means when he says b'chul amin. Hainu she'or zeh hine oifen hamshachose. The way it's drawn down b'chol elam is b'shava is in all the worlds equally. Amnam, however, b'chdei lahamshich or zeh b'chul amin. In order to draw this down, in order to connect to this level of light, we're not going to bring it into a state of revelation as light, because by definition, this level of light can't be revealed in the world the way Mamale can, because how do you reveal light? Kalim. This level of light is beyond being clothed in Kalim, so it's not going to be revealed like Mamale. Here's Mamale being revealed. Now, you might say it's being concealed. Okay, well, it depends on who you are and what you understand in life. If you really understand what's going on, you realize that this table is a revelation of godly energy. Okay, so where do you see that in Sevev? Well, you don't see that like you see this. But the very fact that all this stuff exists is an expression of God's will. So there's a revelation of the will, but it's not revealed to the extent that the mamale responsible for this is revealed and the mamale responsible for this is revealed. Now, is it revealed? Well, yes and no. Right? On some objective level, it's revealed. Okay, subjectively, I might not experience it. Although you could say you could ultimately make that statement in exactly the opposite way. On some objective level, it's not revealed because kalim in this world conceal light, but subjectively, you can be sensitive to it by virtue of arousing, creating in your sense, in yourself, an appreciation of the fact that everything's the Eibishter. Right? Which of those two statements is right? Well, they're both right in their own way, even though they're sort of opposite one the other. Right? But they're both true. Right? Because it's just all the Eibishter. Right? Everything's the Eibishter. There's nothing that isn't him. Right? Including our experience of ourself. Right? Rabbi Shab says the fact that you experience your own existence, what's the source of that existence? Shem Yud Kei Vav Kei. So the very fact that you experience your own existence is a revelation of Shem Havaya. Right? So Rabbi says. Right? You're experiencing Shem Havaya. Am I aware of the fact that I'm experiencing Shem Havaya? Well, if I learn the Rebbe Shab, I will be. In order to bring this down into the world, what do we have to do? Well, this is through the Avedis Abirurim, the different acts of rectification, of using physicality for its purpose, or not using it in line with its purpose. Some things are created not to use. Right? And that's Iskafi and Ishafka. Right? And that's what the Alter Rebbe means when you subdue the Sitra Achra. When a person brings about through his Avodah, liyos, that there should be iskafia Sitra Achra, he overcomes the urges of the Sitra Achra. Right? Again, those urges can be negative or positive. To do something that's asur, to not do something that has to be done. Right? Whatever that negative energy is. Right, so he overcomes that, and then he comes to the next level, and he actually transforms that darkness into light. He takes that negative energy and turns it into something positive. Now, he can't do that with certain physical objects, but can do it within himself. So now the Rebbe says a line that he's going to say a number of times, which is a very important line, and you've seen it all over the place, right? But we're going to see the expression of it when we're not going to do it today just because it's late. I'm going to give you a sheet of paper, and then that sheet of paper is going to be the fourth chapter of our Rebbe's first mimer, where he explains this idea very, very clearly. Even though interestingly, he does not use the words, but he explains the idea, the advantage of light that emerges from the dark. Now, the simple pshat in that, and this is sometimes the simple pshat, even though in this case it isn't, is that the greater light emerges from the dark. So the Eibishter creates a situation of darkness in order to allow for a greater light to emerge from that dark. So he conceals himself, and then through our Aveda, we bring about a revelation of a greater light that could than that light which could be revealed without that concealment. Okay, so exactly how does that work? We'll see. Our Rebbe will explain that to us in the fourth chapter of his first mimer, which we'll see tomorrow morning. Okay, we're just going to finish this chapter here now. The kasher choshech nefach laor. Rebbe's going to explain exactly how all this works, but here we'll just see the basic idea that when darkness is transformed to light, and it's not just relative, right? That if it's dark out and you turn on the light seems brighter. No. We're talking about a situation where if it's dark and you turn on the light, then the light is existentially brighter, not subjectively, objectively. How's that work? Okay, again, we'll see. The kasher choshech nefach le'or, that when the darkness is transformed to light, hine nase yisr na'or, there's a greater light. In other words, there's some aspect of darkness that's actually more powerful than light itself, so that when that power of darkness is harnessed, it creates a greater expression of light. Now, that doesn't mean chas v'sholom that you do aveiras l'shma. Oh, okay, this darkness of the aveira, if I do it for the sake of God, then I'm doing something even better than a mitzvah. No, God forbid, that's absolutely the wrong idea. There were people who had that idea 400 years ago, and they brought about great destruction on the Jewish people, right? Shabtai Tzvi and his like, right? Okay, they're completely destructive. That's why some people say that people shouldn't learn Inyanim in Pnimis Torah because they'll mess it up, right? Okay. The Arizal said that that's no longer a problem. So that's why we learn it, right? Even though we're not 40. Some of us might be, some of us might not be, right? But somehow if we harness the power of the Choshech, we can bring about a greater expression of Or. Now that power of the Choshech is not harnessing the power in Aveira Chas v'Shalom. It's harnessing the true power of the reality of this world, which is a world of darkness. But what is this world ultimately? It's the world that is to be the place of the most powerful revelation of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Where is that, Dir B'Tachtenim? Down here, not in Atzilus. Atzilus is not a world of Choshech. Atzilus is a world of Or. Right? Absolute revelation. This is the world of Choshech. And Dafka, down here, there's the greatest revelation of light. So how does that work? Okay, again, how that works, the Rebbe is going to explain it to us in quite an astounding way in our Rebbe in his first mimer. Okay, but we're going to finish the paragraph here, see what the Frierdiker Rebbe says, and then the Rebbe in his first mimer, which discussed the first chapter of the Frierdiker Rebbe's mimer, is going to explain all this to us in a deeper level. We're just going to get the basic idea here. We don't know how it works. We just know that it works. Harnessing the dark produces a greater expression of light. Hine nase yisronor sha'or meir begilui, that the light shines in a revealed way, ad asher yar lamata mamish, until it shines below mamish, meaning it transforms the darkness into light. V'hainu shenimshach, because that's what happens when light shines in a dark place. Hainu shenimshach ha'or ba'ifin kazeh, that the light is drawn down in such a way, a lot of repetition of the words. Asher oifen hamshachose, the fashion, the way in which it's drawn down, who in all of the worlds equally. In other words, we're not talking about a revelation of the godly light that's powering the existence of this thing. We're talking about an infinite level of godly light that's beyond the so to speak limited light that's powering the existence of this thing. Sovev, not mamalei. We'll see what the Rebbe says Sovev means in this context. V'zeu, and this is what the Alter Rebbe means when he says, Kadis kafya sitra achri stalak yukudekuchu brichu b'chul almin. We're back to the whole statement. This is the first time we've seen this statement since it was quoted at the beginning. That when you subdue the sitra achri, it goes out the glory of HaKadosh Baruch Hu that exists in all of the worlds equally. B'china sa'or, the level of light, the quality of light, shenim shachar hasovev kol almin, that it should be drawn down. The infinite light, the light that surrounds and encompasses the world, that the way that light is drawn down, it surrounds and encompasses all of the worlds equally. Now, exactly what that means is hard to understand. Again, the Rebbe will help us with that. So therefore, it shines below like it shines above. Now, gilui means one of two things, right? Gilui can mean both that the thing is visible, revealed. What does revealed mean? It's visible, you can see it. Or that it's there. Not that I can see it, it's there. Right? Revelation doesn't necessarily mean, if I were to reveal something, an example, this room is full of radio waves. True? There are all these radio stations revealing radio waves into this room. Do you see them? No. Do you hear them? I also don't hear them. I'm not a clee for radio waves. Right? And even if you were to listen to them on this, you're not hearing the radio waves, right? That's not coming from the radio waves, because this isn't a radio either. If you were to tune in, you can, right? You can tune into a radio station on this thing, but you're not hearing the radio waves. You're hearing, however else it works, right? I'm not sure, but right? It's also broadcasting on Wi-Fi, that radio station. So you're hearing the Wi-Fi of it, not the radio waves. This room's also full of Wi-Fi, right? So that actually is being picked up by this thing as we speak, right? Which is helping this happen. That's why yesterday it didn't happen, because there was a problem with the Wi-Fi, evidently. Right? Okay. So there's Wi-Fi being revealed in this room. Am I aware of it? Do I see it? Can I access it? Well, yeah, that I can access, because I have a kli that can access it. So it's really mamale, right? It's not a mushal for survey, but it's a mushal for the idea of something being revealed that I don't necessarily see. But you can't say it's not revealed in this room. There are radio waves being revealed in this room. There's no question about that. There's all these radio stations filling this room with the amount of idiocy that is floating around in this room at this moment is absolutely staggering. Right? Okay. Baruch Hashem, we don't hear it, we don't see it, we have nothing to do with it. Might we start to glow in the dark if we hang around long enough? Who knows what all those things that are floating around are causing, right? It seems that it doesn't cause such problems, right? Because people are living longer, not shorter, right? But I'm sure there's someone who's going to scare everybody about it at some point in the near future, just because there's people whose job is to make everybody frightened and scared, right? It's called the media. They just like to do that. They find a new project every 5-10 years to scare everybody, right? When we were growing up, it was starvation. Now it's obesity.
They fixed the problem.
Hmm?
They fixed the problem.
Well, they found a new problem.
Yeah, they're just new. It's interesting. Every 5-10 years, they come up with a new one to scare everybody. Climate controls. That's over. Yeah, climate. That's all. It's done. It's finished. It's old news. We're done with that. We're done there. Now forget about that one. Let's find a new one. I don't know what the new one is now. Whatever. COVID was a really good one. That one worked for quite a while. That was like atomic bomb of let's frighten everybody with false information. Not that it wasn't a bad thing. It was a bad thing, but it wasn't what they said it was. Right? They sure got us. Okay. So that's out there. But revelation? How does revelation work? So there can be revelation where I actually see it. I actually experience it. Because I'm a kli for it. There's other states of revelation that won't happen. Am I a kli for sevev? Well, no. Because sevev by definition is l'mayla. It's l'mayla mina kelim. It's beyond kelim. It can't be clothed in kelim. Okay. But can I become a person appreciative of the fact that the Ratzon of the Eibishter is present in the world and powering everything that happens? Well, if you believe in Hashgacha Pratis, you certainly are a person who lives that way, right? Right? Jeremy asked me what was the lesson of that idiocy I had to deal with last night. In other words, what? It wasn't random. The Eibishter was pushing my buttons for some reason. Why did the Eibishter decide to push my buttons that way? I don't know. I don't want to, I could tell you 5,000 reasons. It's just embarrassing to talk about it, so I won't. Right, okay. When the Eibishter wastes our time, okay, that's the easiest one in the world, right? I mean, we waste so much of it, so why isn't he allowed to waste it for us now and then just to show us that wasting time is annoying, right? Because we waste it all the time, okay? So every now and then the Eibishter will say, okay, you want to waste your time? I'll waste your time. You just sit there and wait for the phone call from Mr. Yedidim to unlock your car, right? Okay. That's the way it goes. Is that why that? I have no clue. No clue. Don't have to know everything. Certainly learned a few lessons. Don't leave the key in the car. That was lesson number 1. Right? Four lines up in the full lines. It shines here like it does above. Again, do I see it? No. But is it here? Yes. Am I making the world a world more in tune with the Ratzon of HaKadosh Baruch Hu? Yes. Am I making myself a being more in tune with the Ratzon of HaKadosh Baruch Hu? Ratzon is makif. Right? Yes. Am I giving the Eibishter greater pleasure by virtue of my behavior? Yes, absolutely. Makif. Do I see it? No. Might I be sensitive to it? Hopefully. I'm not going to see it like I see Mamale. Oh, back to the beginning. Because the whole mimer is about this. And this is what it means, V'asili mikdash v'shechanti b'seichem. They should build for me a mikdash and I will dwell amongst them. Is that 4 times already the Rebbe's quoted this? The whole mimer is about this. B'seich kol echad ve'echad. What does that mean? B'seicham. B'seichai le'nemar, b'seicham. It didn't say I should build me a mikdash and I'll dwell in it. It said they should build me a mikdash and I'll dwell in them. They should do that avodah of iskafia v'ishavcha, which is building a sanctuary, and I will dwell in them. They will be sensitive to Elokus. There'll be people where God is bouncing around in their head all day. B'seich kol echad ve'echad al yedei avodah de bechinas iskafia v'ishavcha chashucha l'nahara. How does that happen? Through the avodah. How do we bring about a sensitivity to godliness in our lives? Through the avodah of iskafia and ishavcha. Subduing our yetzer hara, meaning allowing less and less external noise into our head, which will allow for godliness to rest there and express itself there. And transforming certain aspects of ourselves that might be negative, but using that negative energy to ultimately express itself in a positive way, right? Which is, everybody can express that in their own way. What's brought about? Yisra Na'or. In the world, in me, but also in the world. If you bring about a revelation of godliness in your own consciousness, then what have you done? You brought about a revelation of godliness in the world because you're part of the world. The world is now a greater place of revelation. Why? Well, you are, so it is. Where are you? You're in the world. You're part of the world. Not just in the world like something that has nothing to do with the world. You're as much a part of the world as anything else. Right? Describe Elam Hazeh. Well, if you don't include people in that description, you sort of missed a lot of the point, right? Oh, it's oceans and trees and fish and bears. What about people? Oh no, they're bad. No, we don't talk about people. No, they have nothing to do with it. We have nothing to do with it. The whole reason there's an Elam Hazeh is those people. Right? Can they mess it up? Ooh, better than anybody. Can they fix it? Ooh, better than anybody. Okay. If they bring about a sensitivity to godliness in their own lives, they brought about a revelation of Elokus in Elam Hazeh. Every time you do a mitzvah, you reveal God in Elam Hazeh. You make Elam Hazeh a place of greater revelation. Might the guy next to you be doing the opposite? Okay, Beseder. So not only are you creating light in your own, you're somehow fighting the darkness he might be creating. Okay. Might you yourself also be involved in activity that produces darkness? I've heard that might happen. Yeah. Okay, that's my choice. So if I choose light, so then I'm affecting the world. What am I doing? I'm drawing Sevev. I'm drawing this incredibly powerful, infinite, godly light into the world every time we do something positive in Elam Hazeh. Right? The ultimate will of God. What do you want? Dir b'tachtenim. You're making a little mini dir b'tachtenim every time you do something positive, or refrain from doing something negative. Nasa yedeza yisra na'or. The stalak yukadekuchibrichu b'chul almin, that it goes out the glory of HaKadosh Baruch Hu in all the world, shemeir mizgala ur haseviv, that it shines and is revealed the infinite light. Let's read the Kitzer. The Friedrich wrote the Kitzer, as far as I understand. Iker shrina b'tachtenim. The essence of the divine presence is in the lower realms. Yevar, he explains, the kavanas bria sa'ilamis, the ultimate purpose of the creation of all of the worlds. Not just this world, of all of the worlds. And as a matter of fact, all of reality, even beyond those worlds, even the Sevev, not just Mamale, but Sevev also, the ultimate purpose of all of that exists, is Dir B'Tachtenim, is a dwelling place in the lower realms. How do you bring that about? V'nasa yedei iskafia v'ishavcha, through the Aved of Iskafia and Ishavcha, Shemam Shicher Sevev, which draws down our Sevev. And what's unique about that? Shezeh B'chol Amim B'Shaver, it's that light which exists in all the worlds equal. Okay. Tomorrow, Bezrat Hashem, I will come armed with our Rebbe's, a page of our Rebbe's first mimer, Basil Gani Tafshin Yud Aleph, and in Ois Daled there, the Rebbe explains this in an astounding way. What's unique? What does Dir B'Tachtenim really mean? Why Dafka this world? What's unique about this world, and why is this the world for the most powerful revelation of God? Atzilus seems pretty good. If God wants revelations, so stop in Atzilus. Why do you come down here? This place is a mess. Well, it doesn't have to be.